So yeah, the one thing which is interesting about this one, mostly because of the untitled bit, is kind of how it was introduced. Kind of throwing a bunch of stuff at the table. Being like, oh, it's this one, oh, it's this one. And I like it because of what it is. Because essentially it's a bunch of adventures together from a suggestion box. Also, episode 4 suggestion box. But I wanted to talk about it here because I feel like this is kind of interesting. Because they don't bring it up in later ones. So, again, best time to talk about it. But one of the things it deals with is the control and learning about how big the world is. And I think it's not only basically if you look in the future. Spoiler for episode 9 and 8. I think you slowly learn about the past of Cain and how he was one in episode 8, put in a box, and 2 kind of left after eating the blue AI and then recreating their mind parts. It's very confusing. But I like the idea that it's all about one needing some level of control. So he wouldn't think, and 2, not understanding how big the world is. Again, episode 9. So when you get him commenting about like, oh no, they're like this, their adventure's more than mine, I think it's interesting. I also do like the fact that you see later on that one, Gango, who doesn't usually sometimes take control of the situation a lot of the times and varies sometimes, besides episode 4, and that has its own things, makes a sort of DM for Dungeons and Dragons situation. And Kane is a player character. I think it's interesting. But I like the idea of like the adventures being small this. And to the one criticism, which I think is somewhat fair, being like, why didn't they talk to each other? Kinga is kind of insane. Jax legitimately is an asshole. Gango has the episode of 4, and Zubu's had the situation of, I think it's 4? I think it's 3 actually. Yeah, episode 3, where they both look into the situation. Zubu kind of seeing sort of Kane legitimately glitch out, which probably means like will probably be more open to speaking theoretically. Again, not set in stone. Your arguments of like why didn't they mention this earlier? There. And Gango kind of having that sort of like emotional thing, I think is interesting. And the reason why I think um, Ragava doesn't is she's kind of that people pleaser. The same reason of like she goes and touches her neck and sort of does this and then quickly moves on, being like, and then this. I think like she doesn't want to bear people. Because if you know about some of the stuff, definitely if you see the nightmare she has and how it could be representation of more physical abuse, yeah, you can kind of see why someone might not want to talk about that if they're trying to be a people pleaser, which is fair. But it kind of does mean that maybe she didn't want to bring it up. And because of the bar and the more relaxed situation that Noir has of this not less perfected, but more chill way of recording, of being like, it is legitimately insane to get certain things right, but that's more of a lighting and that style. I'm talking about more how it's recorded, not the storylines, which would be easier because, again, it is digital. Now, that is all code that can get changed. And I do think it's interesting because of that. But yeah, I hope you enjoy and good night.